Hey everybody. Not too long ago, I got an email from a physical therapist who said, did you know you have a dyslexic mind? And I thought that was brilliant. What a brilliant call that was. She intuitively placed it. So if you listen to me, I'm usually kind of all over the place when I talk. I'll eventually get to my point, but I'm kind of all over the place when I talk, and that's what she spotted in me. And I thought that was a great call. And she had said that she has dyslexia, so she can kind of see, kind of the way that I speak and the way that I interpret things. So what I realized that 2 or 3 years ago that I had something called dysgraphia. So dysgraphia is usually the dyslexia of writing, but it's also, there's some reading things too, And two years ago, I was researching this stuff and I'm like, oh my God, I have that. It all makes sense, There's usually fine motor skills, in writing, I had to have one of those bumper things, cause most people could grip the pencil like that, but I couldn't. I had to go like that, early on in school. And still I write like this, I have to tuck my thumb to control the pencil more, which is kind of strange because I was a wide receiver in football in college. And, but the fine motor is like that, I have to grip it, But when I read, if you look at this thing behind me, when I look at the word challenge, I see L, E, and C, and then I put it together. So dyslexics swap things, but I see the middle of the sentence or the middle of the word and then the two ends, and then I put it together. So if you've been privileged enough to get some emails and messages from me, there's usually stuff missing. I can't, I make a lot of spelling errors, and my wife not too long ago, she was she will look at these posts I put on Facebook and say, Ryan, you got to check that over. There's all kinds of mistakes in it. And I said, hon, I did 3 times. I didn't see it, So, what's interesting though, is that there's a lot of hallmarks of people with these processing issues. And I don't see them as a disorder. Honestly, I don't. I see it as a uniqueness, one of the hallmarks is that they notice patterns across patient populations. And if you list a lot across things that they're looking at, they can see things that others can't, and if you listen to me over the past, how long I've been talking on here and do the things that I'm talking about, these interventions that over the past 15 years, I've noticed patterns across populations, SI joint dysfunctions, carpal tunnel syndrome. If you watch those videos, those are patterns that I see, and I've been able to figure out ways to interventions, So a lot of times, dyslexics and dysgraphia and these people with processing issues, see the world very differently, and I see the world very differently. I see, a lot of people's minds, see A plus B plus C very linearly. I don't see that, and it frustrates me that I don't see that. But I see Z equals A, and do you know that P equals B? Did you know that the foot connects to the shoulder? Did you know that the knee connects to the hip? That's the way that I see the world. So it doesn't make sense to me. So early on, I think, I can ask my mom, but early on, I think I struggled in school early on. I ended up once I figured out how my brain worked, I think I did well. I graduated, in PT school, top 3rd of my class, but early on I struggled, and because the school system is designed for linear thinkers, and I'm not a linear thinker, I'm a lateral thinker, I'm a free associative thinker, So, there was a study done with dyslexics, okay? And they determined that 40% of all self-made millionaires, I think it was 40%, of all self-made millionaires, dyslexics are dyslexic. So, these people usually didn't do that well in school. How did that happen, And the reason why is because, number one, they're creative, and number two, they're very insightful, They see the world very differently, and because of that, they can solve problems that other people can't. CEOs, entrepreneurs, and deal with a high level of ambiguity. They don't need structure. They actually thrive on non-structure, which is kind of how my mind works, So if you have a child that has dyslexia or dysgraphia, that, to me, that's a gift. If I could go back And you could say, hey, Ryan, like, you know, you can choose to have, you know, this processing disorder that frustrates you, you know, or, you know, you could think like everybody else. I would say, no, I don't want to think like everybody else, you know? And so I see the world very differently, and it's because of how my brain works, you know? Does it frustrate me to near end? Yes, it does. But I also, that's where my originality comes from, you know, and insightfulness, you know? So if you have a kid that has dyslexia or dysgraphia, a lot of times you can think that you're like dumb or something like that. That's not true, you know? Like I really don't see it that way. I see it as like a gift, you know? And school will probably be hard because it's designed by linear thinkers, you know? But there's all kinds of programs and all kinds of, you know, ways of helping them in school. I've been researching, you know, things, I think it was like Bright Horizons or something like that, where they see how dyslexics and dysgraphics mind work, and then they kind of tailor, you know, tailor the curriculum to that. And it's really cool what they're doing. And I wish I had that in school, you know? So anyways, I honestly see that as a gift. I don't, although it's beyond frustrating that I can't see when I, you know, sometimes I have to read things 2 or 3 times, you know, to make sure that I got the whole thing, you know? And if you watch these posts, there might be some spelling errors in it, you know, and that's just par for the course for me. So, but I honestly believe that it's a gift in that you should train these people to their strengths, not their weaknesses. Yes, everybody has to learn to read. You know, in PT school, I had to do a lot of reading and memorization, and I did fine with it. You know, but it may have taken me an extra time than a lot of my peers in school. But I did it. So anyways, you know, if you have a child, you know, that has that, it's not, you know, like it's so like when you know, like if you were to, the worst thing they can do is to feel like they're dumb, you know, because then their self-esteem goes, you know? So if one of my kids are like that, I'm gonna get them in other programs. You know, I have young kids, but I'm gonna get them in other programs and, you know, teach them to their strengths. Maybe they're a born entrepreneur like a lot of dyslexics are. In that study that they were talking about, 40% of self-made millionaires are dyslexic was a mail-in study. So I guarantee it's higher than that because dyslexics would rather not read if they don't have to. So anyways, so to me, that's a gift, okay? So please, you know, if you have a kid, like try to get them in programs. Like that's what I would do with my kid, you know?